Shalom and welcome to Voice of Judea Television, broadcasting live from our studios in Yerushalayim, the holy capital of the state of Israel. Unfortunately, today another news report about a Jew murdered in the land of Israel, in the state of Israel, in Sderot by a Qassam rocket. They tell you that the Qassam rockets are not a strategic threat to the state of Israel. Tell that to Mrs. Selotka, who was murdered today by a Qassam rocket, another Qassam rocket that has fallen on the city of Sderot in the Negev. Fatima Selotka, an Ola, 57 years old, was murdered today in Israel. She came home to Israel from the former Soviet Union to be murdered by a Qassam rocket. But Qassam rockets don't kill. That's what they tell us. There's no strategic threat. Every day, each and every day in Israel, Qassam rockets are falling and murdering people potentially in Israel. And today, unfortunately, they succeeded. But have no fear. The defense minister of Israel and the chief of staff have said that they are going to take serious action against the Arabs in Gaza to prevent such actions from happening. Well, what have they been waiting for? Why did they have to wait until another Jew has been murdered? And what will they really do? The only solution that can possibly stop Qassam rockets from falling on southern Israel is by returning to Gaza, annexing Gaza, both sides of the Philadelphia path, and driving out the hostile enemies of Israel. That's the only thing that can possibly stop Qassam rockets from falling on Sderot and on Ashkelon and in the future on Ashdod and Tel Aviv. There is no other solution other than being there and driving out our enemies. I know, what will America say? Well, what has America said? And we've heard about the recent elections in America where the Democrats have been victorious. Governorships, Senate, Congress, 6 out of 10 Americans have told the Republicans to go home. Yankee, go home. That's what they've told the Republicans. They don't want war in Iraq. They don't want confrontation with the Arabs. They want to appease the Arabs. And who stands in the way of all of this? Israel, once again. The Jew, again, will be the scapegoat. And all of you watching this show, it's time that you seriously consider packing your bags and coming home to Israel, because there is no future for the Jew in America. As for Israel, obviously Israel has to take a stand against its enemies in the north and in the south. Isolation? Well, that's where we're heading to anyhow. We might as well do that which God has commanded us, and that which any normal state would do, and that's drive out our enemies, disregard world opinion, and do what we have to do to save Jewish lives. And that's what God obligates us to do in any event. We have with us today a very special guest, Rocky Yerachmiel Zygler. He is a tremendous performer. I just bought his CD here, and I'm sure after you hear his music on today's show, Ahava Ve'achava, you too will rush to your local bookstore or music store, or find out how else you can order this CD. Yerachmiel is a tremendous, talented singer, and remember that we were the first, or one of the first people to discover Matisyahu. I don't know if you remember him performing in that concert in Brooklyn that we had out there in Brighton Beach. And at that time, he was with Pei Dalit. He was with Pei Dalit. And Pei Dalit, another fantastic up-and-coming band. But Matisyahu has made it. And I tell you that you are watching Yerachmiel.
I already made it. Because I'm sitting here with you, Mike. This to me is what's making it.
Okay.
I could be still in America and playing in the village, and thank God I just came here and made Aliyah, as they say. Not official Aliyah, I don't have Teudat Zehut or anything like that, but I'm here living in the land of Israel, and it's good to be back.
Well, welcome home, Rocky Yerachmiel Zygler. And as I mentioned earlier, after you hear his music, I'm sure you're going to be very interested in buying his CD and finding out where you can hear Rocky. And the best place to hear him is, of course, by coming home to Israel. Most of the people watching this show are probably, the thousands of people that are watching this show are probably sitting, most of you, in America. And it really is time to come home and join us in Israel. And when you do come to Israel, give me a call and I'll have you on the show here, and we'll have you as a guest on this show, as we have often Olim Chadashim that have come home to Israel. We can talk on and on. I'm going to make it brief because you'll want to hear Rocky today. He's the star of the show. We could talk for hours about what's going on in Israel, but don't worry. we're not going to talk for hours. If you're interested in hearing my last speech at the conference, the annual Jerusalem conference in tribute to Rabbi Meir Kahane, you can call us at 718-874-2057. Give you a chance to take out your pens. 718-874-2057. Of course, you can stay updated at www.voiceofjudea.com. You can be updated with news and commentary that we doubt you've seen elsewhere on our website daily. And you can order my last speech about 40 years in tribute to Rabbi Meir Kahane by emailing us at mishallyisrael@yahoo.com, mishallyisrael@yahoo.com, and stay in touch with us by watching these weekly shows. And I want to hand the stage over to Rocky, to Rachmiel.
Thank you, Mike. I want to play a song that actually you mentioned about the conference we had in commemoration of Rabbi Meir. And this was a song that I wrote for in the memory of Rabbi Meir many years already by now. And we played it during the past years at every yard site, and we did it again this year. So this is a song in commemoration of his memory. May it be for a blessing. Ever since you were gone, the world's been a crazy place. Between you and me, nothing's changed much. There's still fear by the mere mention of your name. You were a man when no man was there, and I'd feel safer if you were here. Never again was a promise you would keep. You said there is no honor in dying like sheep to the slaughter. Every Jew with a 22, 'cause talk is cheap, and you would not give in to fear. And I'd feel safer if you were here. La la. When it was clear we could not see, and it came as no surprise. You were jailed for bravery in your own country, but you did not rest. You made the best of your destiny, and you wiped away our tears. And I'd feel safer if you were here, and I'd feel safer if you were here, and I'd feel safer if you ahead of your time and a prophet in our midst. You're a leader like no other. You'll surely be missed like a brother. It was not time to close your eyes. How could you leave us like this? I know you'll shake the heavens from up there, but I'd feel safer if you were here. And I feel safer if you are here. And I feel safer if you were here. La 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 and I bid you farewell, Be'ahavat Yisrael.
That's a beautiful song, Rocky. Yerachmiel. You know, I think every time I hear that song, it sounds better each time. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. I want you to know something. Ezra, that's standing behind the camera here, he doesn't usually come to the shows. It bores him, you know. I mean, you know, we have all these singers and different, you know, news and events, and we basically say the same thing. We're calling upon the Jewish people to have faith in God and to disregard world opinion and to do national tshuva. I mean, that was Rabbi Kahana's big chidush. That it's not just an inyan, not just an issue of personal tshuva. Of course, the Jew has to shomer Shabbat, and he has to observe the Sabbath and put on tefillin and tzitzit and observe the beautiful mitzvot and study the Torah. There's also an issue of national tshuva. And, you know, that's our main message to Am Yisrael this year on the 40th.
That's right. We also see that there's an issue of 40 when it comes to deciding one's fate. According to Jewish law, I mean, I don't know how the rabbis have missed this one. Rabbi Kahana was right on the ball when he spoke about 40. And in fact, 40 years after the state of Israel was created, 1948 it was created, Tashach, and in 1988, the Torah was effectively banned in Israel. I know, Rabbi Kahana, that's politics, that's radical Judaism, that's extremism. That's Judaism, because he was banned because of the Torah quotes that he quoted. I mean, I remember before the election committee, when we went years later with Binyamin Kahana, after Rabbi Kahana, Zygler Tzaddik was already murdered, and we went before the election committee and they said, what does your Torah say about intermarriage? And we said, well, the Torah, of course, says that Jews need to marry Jews. There can be no continuity of the Jewish people without that. But of course, it's a halacha. Of course, the Rambam states as such as. Of course, that's in the Code of Law in the Shulchan Aruch. And he was banned because of the Judaism that he represented. The rabbis were silent. But effectively, Judaism was banned 40 years of the state of created. And now we stand 40 years after the liberation of the Temple Mount, of the Har HaBayit, and of Judea and Samaria, of Hebron. This week, Chayesara, all the thousands of Jews will be coming to Hebron.
Come to Israel, experience Hebron.
That's
on
right.
Parshat Chayesara. It's like none other.
We're on the 40th year. When did the 40th year begin? We ushered in the 40th year with the Lebanon debacle. And Israel has changed ever since. There has never been a period in Israel's history where we have been so threatened on every front. Qassam and Katyusha rockets can effectively hit every city in Israel today. That's a fact. It's never been that way. The corruption, the height, the level, the depth of corruption in Israel has never reached, unfortunately, the heights that it has reached today. You read the newspapers, the majority of Israel is calling upon the prime minister, the defense minister, and the chief of staff to resign. The morale has never been lower. There's something new in the air, but not only on the negative side, also on the positive side. The average guy in the street knows that the corrupt is willing to give a chance to the Jewish alternative, to the direction of faith in God. Until now, we've tried juggling world opinion, satisfying the Americans and the United Nations, and at the same time trying to deal with Israel's interests and doing our best. And Likud governments and Labor governments, they've all done the same. No government has ever tried faith in God. God is stronger than Bush. No government has ever tried to do that which God has commanded us to do, to liberate the lands of Israel, to drive out the enemies. You know, people think there's nationalism and there's Judaism. There's Zionism and there's Judaism. What they don't realize is that the two need to go together. There needs to be an Israel with faith in God that does that which we are commanded to do, in any event, that which any normal nation would have done long ago, and that's drive out our enemies and annex the lands of Israel and have no fear what the Goy will say. Let's be frightened about what Hashem will say. And this is the 40th year. Just like the baby in the fetus in the womb of its mother, for 40 days, the mother and the father is allowed to pray that it should be a male or a female. After 40 days, it's a bracha of a Talmud. The Talmud tells us in Masechet Brachot, if you pray that the baby, the fetus should turn into a male or a female after the 40th day, that's like heresy. Because everybody knows in Judaism, 40 is the number. And within 40, you decide the destiny of the conception. Well, we have returned to Judea and Samaria. God gave us a tremendous gift. We returned to Yehuda v'Shomron, to Shechem and Hebron, and to Beit Lechem, to Kever Rachel, and the Kivrei Avot in Hebron, and Kever Yosef in Shechem, and to the Golan Heights, and to Har HaBayit, the holiest site in Judaism, the heart of the Jewish people. We returned 39 plus years ago. And the fate of Judea and Samaria and Gaza and the Temple Mount will be decided this year. And have no doubt, he who rules the Mount rules all of Israel. And that's not only from a topographical, military point of view, from a spiritual point of view.
Didn't you go up on Friday? What happened there? And you want to take?
We tried to go up on Sunday to the Temple Mount, and the police told us, hopefully in next week's show we're going to show you footage. I mean, remarkable footage of how the policeman is saying there, he's so proud of himself because he knows that he'll probably get a promotion if it's aired. But that's in this government. There will be a Jewish government one day for him, then he will not get a promotion. I have news for him, for what he did. But the chief of the police on the Temple Mount came out to greet us as we were about to enter the Temple Mount with the Talit and with our Siddur. And you'll see this next week on The Voice of Judea. And he said to us, you can't go up to the Temple Mount to perform any kind of Jewish religious ritual. The land of Israel. We've dreamed for thousands of years to return home, to have a Jewish policeman tell us that only Arabs can perform Islamic rituals on the Mount, but a Jew can't go up, God forbid, to pray on the Temple Mount. Because what will the Arabs say? What will the world say?
I want to play devil's advocate for a second. You know, why isn't it just good enough just to go to the Kotel? Why isn't it, all the Jews go to the Kotel? You know, it's like we're davening there. Hashem hears the prayers everywhere. You know, it's right next to the Har HaBayis. Why isn't that good enough? Why is it important for a Jew to go up to Har HaBayis right now, make such a political statement, and make confrontation?
Okay, first of all, we are the last people to urge Jews to do anything that would cause confrontation, heaven forbid. We would like to believe that in the land of Israel, in the state of Israel, that there will not be anti-Semitism on the part of the Israeli government, that Jews will not be discriminated against for being Jews. We don't expect in Israel to see a sign similar to the Nuremberg laws or the signs that we might have seen in Nazi Germany, God forbid, and I don't want to make a parallel, but a sign that would say no dogs, no Jews. And essentially that is the reality on the Temple Mount. If you are a Jew with a Magen David, with a Jewish star, with a prayer book, with that coming out to perform a Jewish ritual, you are banned effectively from the Temple Mount, because what will the Muslims say? I don't need an Israeli government that will implement the persecution and the discrimination and the anti-Semitism of the Nazis of Gentiles.
How can we make it that the regular, dati, religious person can understand the importance of going up to Har HaBayis?
Listen, I thought I was just bringing you for music, but finally somebody's come here to interview me, because I love to answer questions, hostile questions, or devil advocate questions, because that's what the viewers want to see, and that's what piques their interest. So what was your question again?
The question is, the regular dati person, the Mir Yeshiva Bacher, the Brisk Yeshiva, the guy that comes in who's coming to Israel. He's making his trip to Israel. He lives in America. He lives in England, and he's coming for a visit. The first thing he does is he goes to the Kotel, right? But what we're saying here is that that's not enough. You know, Yotzazan, he went to the Kotel, everything's great, now he can go back to America. No, it's not enough, right? We're saying it's extremely important for every Jew to understand that right now it's a struggle for Har Bayit. And the Har Bayit is whoever's in control of Har Bayit is essentially in control of Israel in a certain sense, of the spiritual flow of what's happening in Israel. Right now, you see who's in control in a certain sense, and it's not us. And it's our own people who are pushing us away. But how do we explain to the regular Dati religious person the importance, and every Jew for that matter, the importance of going up to Har Bayit at this time?
Well, first of all, I want to say that you are already disproving our theory. I mean, Yishai, our producer here, he says, why are you talking politics? Let's get back to the music. That's what he says. And now we have a musician talking politics. I don't know if that's good for your future career as a musician, but I know that this is something that's interesting to our viewers, and you're asking, what's wrong with the Kotel? Why should we aspire to go onto the Mount? What's important about going up to the Temple Mount? Well, first and foremost, praying at the Kotel, for a Jew that knows no better, that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. He comes home to Israel, comes to that Kotel, sees those rocks of the wailing walls.
Chabal,
I've been in Israel.
Should be the Simcha wall,
right? And he comes there and he kisses it. And he puts the petek and the notes in there. That's a wonderful thing. And if you experience a spiritual high by being there, and if you feel that you're closer to God by being there, then kol hakavoti, it's a wonderful thing. I must tell you, though, that for somebody who's willing to go further than that, we should always aspire to climb the escalator and to climb the level of spirituality and to go further. For somebody who's willing to go further, he should know that the Kotel is the external wall surrounding what was the holiest place to the Jewish people, the Temple Mount. And mind you, the Temple Mount was not just the holiest place spiritually. It was the center of the Jewish people judicially, politically. That is the heart of the Jewish people. I mean, I was eating a lot of potato chips today, and I said, my heart, I mean, that's the heart of the Jewish people. That we're stuffing the arteries when we go to the Kotel, we're stuffing the artery. Look, it's good. You need to eat to survive. If that's all you have, eat, even if it stuffs the arteries a little bit. But we can aspire for better. We Jews need to always climb the escalator. Rabbi Kahana used to say, the world is like an escalator. You're either going up or going down. There's no staying in the middle. I mean, the truth is you can stay in the middle for a limited period of time, but at some point you have to make a decision. And the Temple Mount, that's where it's at. According to the Rambam, there's a halachic obligation, there's a mitzvah to build the Temple Mount in every generation. According to most halachic sources, to build the Temple Mount, you're even allowed to go up in ritual.
It goes further. It says a generation that does not build the temple is considered as if they destroyed it. Can you imagine? As if the opportunity always presents itself. It like you can understand it from that inference that it's basically the opportunity always presents itself that we can build the temple, and it's kind of like if we don't take that opportunity, it's almost as if we destroyed it ourselves.
So listen, I'm a liberal, and I'm willing to accept maybe we shouldn't build the temple. There are different views in Judaism. Maybe it's not yet quite the time to build the temple, but certainly let's rid ourselves of this desecration.
Isn't there a movement
of the desecration? It's still Hashem. I mean, the Arabs are up there playing soccer.
Is there a movement right now to make a shul, a synagogue on the Temple Mount? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you this. We went up on Sunday. We tried to go up. And we told the policeman there, and we videoed this. You're going to see this next week. It's an incredible video. We said to him, we are videoing you now. And he was so proud of himself. He said, well, the Israeli policy is you can't go up to the mountain. You can't perform any Jewish ritual on the Temple Mount because that might anger the Gentiles, the Goyim, and the Arabs. And God forbid it will create World War III. And he's talking so openly to the cameras, and you will see this. I would think the guy would be frightened. We're videoing him. We're going to show this footage. And we are going to show this footage. And we're going to go to the High Court of Israel. I know. There's little to expect from the High Court of Israel because they speak in the name of democracy, but there is only democracy for Arabs. and there's only democracy for gays that want to march for Jerusalem. For Jews, you know what the Attorney General of Israel said last week? He said that this abomination of the gay pride parade in Jerusalem can happen because at the end of the day, even if there's a security risk to Jews and to the state of Israel, democracy has to win out. And so we gave him his test of democracy. This Sunday we said, well, let's see if on the Temple Mount, if also democracy will win out when it comes to issues of holiness and not just the issues of abomination and desecration. And of course, the police didn't let us up. We're going to go to the High Court of Israel, and it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter whether they let us up or don't let us up. It doesn't matter what they rule in the High Court of Israel. It's important because the average Israeli, more and more Israelis, are beginning to say that they have lost complete faith in the judicial system, in the government of Israel, in the laws of Israel, in the false democracy of the state of Israel. And the average Israeli is beginning to openly support our views. And so it doesn't matter what they say. If they say we can't go up, we won, because we won over another 1,000 or 100,000 Israelis that see the corruption and the double standard of the corrupt and evil Israeli government. And if we win, and we're able to pray mincha on the Temple Mount for the first time in 2,000 years, that's also a wonderful precedent on the way to our redemption. I don't want it to sound like we're against everybody and we see everything black. We see it white. We're going to win this war. You know why we're going to win this war? Because the Jews have survived for thousands of years. We have overcome the Romans and the Persians and the Greeks, and we will overcome the evil, moronic, stupid, hateful, self-hating leftists in Israel. They're about 10% of the population. They may control the courts of Israel. They may put me in jail for saying this. But you know what? There's life after jail, and there's life after death, according to Jewish tradition. We believe in Tchiyat HaMetim. Our biggest inspirations are actually the Jews that have been murdered on sanctifying God's name, such as Rabbi Akiva, who would not be frightened to speak his Torah truth. And I tell you today that I am not frightened to stand before you and speak the Torah truth. I know they can incarcerate me and they can murder me. But you know what? There'll be thousands that will fill my place because people are inspired by truth, by justice, by Torah, by Judaism. And that's my message to you today. And I want to hand the stage back to Rocky Yerachmiel. Let's play some music.